Hey everybody, welcome to Bottom of the Bottle. I don't know which episode we're on. I'm with my lovely, talented, gorgeous, sexy, smart, um, educated. I want to make sure.
Okay, I'm Sherry Murray.
I was getting there. I was going to do it. So here's what we do on the Bottom of the Bottle. We drink a bottle of wine. Normally what we do is we drink the top half before we do the video, and then the bottom half, we come on, we do a video, and we talk about not necessarily the bottle of wine we're drinking, because we're not that good to tell you about why it's all that great. We can't tell you about tasting notes, why it tastes, the way it tastes, all that kind of good stuff. Our palates just aren't that good.
We could try, but it would be silly.
We'd be blowing smoke up your behind. I said behind.
I know, I'm
so. So what we do is we tell you about an awesome experience we've had at a Northwest winery. And then you can go check out that winery and buy all the wine you want, because I think you're going to love it as much as we do. Now, if we didn't like the wine, we wouldn't be doing a bottom of the bottle episode, right?
And I think, too, everybody's palates are different. So what wine we like, you may not like, and what wine
Why wouldn't
you
they?
like. Well,
what's the matter with them?
I don't know. They're crazy, but that's
right.
Okay. We don't judge here. This is a non-judgmental zone, okay?
You like what I like, or you get out. Just kidding.
What he said.
Okay.
We just like the wine, so
here's our deal tonight. It's a little bit different tonight. Normally we just do, say, a bottle and a winery and a video. And then tonight we want to do two videos. So we're actually on our second bottle, and the bottle we're gonna talk about now, the winery. So we already have a bottle and a half already in our bellies, and
let's just say
which
it's
means
really good.
Yeah, it's like at this point with a bottle and a half in our bellies, I'm incredibly funny.
He thinks he's incredibly funny, so laugh along with him. It'll go a long way, and it'll help me out. So we'll be really good friends.
Hold on, I need to freshen up my bottle.
Oh my gosh,
My glass. Would you like me to freshen up your glass?
No, I got plenty.
Okay.
I'm good for right now.
Okay, so here's what we're talking about today. So we just had an awesome 3-day experience in Woodinville.
Yes.
And the second stop on Friday, so the second stop of our trip was a place called Chateau Lill. And tonight we are drinking the Lill Brother. Look at that little play on words. Lill Brother. It's a red wine.
And they have Lill Sister, which is a white wine.
And it is a scrumptious.
Wait, no, it is. Lill Sister is actually a rosé.
It might be.
Yes.
I'm sure once we put this on, when Chris or Greg or Stacy sees this, they'll let us know if we're wrong.
They'll let us know that I'm right.
Maybe.
There we go.
So, so here's the deal. This is a scrumptious wine. I'm just going to tell you that. So we had heard of Chateau Lill. We had never scheduled to go. The reason why we did go is Chris Fulkerson is in our Let's Talk About Northwest Wines group.
Yep.
We started the group to find other people that could tell us where to go taste wines. We thought we'd get about 20 people in there total. Started August 1st, and as of tonight, we're over 4,600. So when we say we're going to go to Woodinville for wine tasting, we get a lot of recommendations. Mm-hmm. We always try to go to the places that are represented in our group by wine industry people, either tasting room managers, general managers, owners, winemakers. If they reach out and say, you should come and try wine here, that's where we're going to go, because we want to go have an experience, especially with a winemaker, wine owner. Those are awesome. We love to be able to talk to those people.
It's really important for us to be able to connect with people. Wine is fun and it's exciting to us, but what adds an even bigger benefit is when we're talking to the person who made it. Yep. There's just something about that resonates with us, because deal. you can see and feel the passion from that person when you're drinking their wine. Yep. It's just such a cool experience. Yep.
So let's talk about Chateau Lill. So we pulled up for our 2:00 appointment on Friday, and we were blown away. I don't even know if that does it justice, right? So It's a large building. We were
Absolutely
in awe, right?
In awe.
So large building. You're immediately met with smoke from actual fires, not just a propane heater, but from regular wood fire pits. And there was, I think 3 of them, so you can smell it. You could hear a little waterfall thing off in the distance. The building is big. You can see you're on a farm because you can see a farm pastures. You can see the farmhouse. You can see buildings, and we were just like, oh my gosh! And so we, just driving in, we were like, wow. Yep. So,
and the thing is we've driven by it multiple times, and we didn't even realize it was there.
Had no clue it was even there.
It is such a cool building and just place.
So we were met by Chris Fulkerson, who came out. And so Chris is a member of our group who, when we posted and said that we were going to Woodinville, Chris said, love to have you at Chateau Lill. Absolutely, right? So Chris is the tasting room manager. They just opened the tasting room. I think it was in November. So this is what Chateau Lill has been used as an event space for weddings, things like that. I mean, you've got to go check it out just to look at it and go, wow, what an amazing place for any event, but a wedding, whatever it is, right? So we went up, we checked out the outdoor space right outside the building, then did a little tour of the building itself. Oh my gosh, it is absolutely stunning, amazing, the inside of this building. And then Chris took us for a tour of the grounds. We went out and they had alpacas out back. They've got ponds, they got goats, they've got, it is just so beautiful. And
there are so many places that you could renew your vows.
Oh yeah.
And have a wedding ceremony from the barrel room downstairs.
There was a gazebo up in the mountainside that was all by itself that you could just go hang out all by yourself, drink wine with your significant other, and total romantic.
Talk about an amazing date night.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh, shut up.
Yeah. And then we went down to the downstairs to where they used to do their production. A cellar and production area downstairs. I'll talk about that in a second. But tell them when we went then back upstairs. We went back upstairs. Chris seated us at a cool place that had this amazing view of the Woodinville Valley. And then he started bringing out the wine. So talk about the wines, the charcuterie board that comes with the tasting.
Yeah, so one of the cool things that Chateau Lill does that is a little bit different from most tastings, some other wineries are doing this, but not many, is when you pay for your tasting, there's also a charcuterie board that is included in that tasting price. So you're able to pair it with some pretty phenomenal meats and cheeses and olives and just some really, really cool stuff. And the charcuterie board was amazing. So we started out. Now, keep in mind, Chateau Lill has always been, for the most part, an event center. And the events that you typically are going to host, because it's so much that's outdoors based, are going to be in the summertime. So when you think summertime, you're going to think of rosés and you're going to think of white wines versus reds for the most part. So I think they had three wine options, 3 or 4? 4. Yep. They had those 4 wine options, and they were really good. Now, I will be the first to admit, I'm not always a huge fan of whites or rosés. I have a little bit of a challenge with those. That's where I started drinking wine. Then I graduated, if you will, into reds. And so sometimes backing to the white wines are a little bit of a challenge for me. But these wines that they had,
really good.
They were really good.
And they paired well with the cheeses.
They paired amazingly well. So it was a fantastic experience the way that they have everything set up. They also, he brought out hand warmers because it's cold out. So want to make sure that you're comfortable, right? They brought out cans of Talking Rain sparkling water because they have a partnership with Talking Rain. So everything about the experience was just high class. I mean, it was really, really well done. And it made you feel, pretty important when all of this stuff is coming out, and you're getting just anything and everything kind of that you need. So the experience, as far as the layout and what you got for a tasting, was absolutely fantastic.
So the first thing is the venue, the entire grounds are some of the most spectacular grounds, not only in Woodinville for a winery doing stuff, but in the state, in the Northwest. It's really spectacular. It's really beautiful. Then number two was the wines came out and they were really good. They paired well with the charcuterie. Now the charcuterie it's COVID charcuterie, meaning it's not on the board. It's in a single serve thing, a plastic thing right now. That's what they have to do for COVID. But it tastes the same when you eat it and you're pairing it with wine, right?
And they partner with a local company that does that.
Yep.
I'm sorry, I can't remember the company. Chris, maybe you can comment on that, who the company is. But they did an absolute spot-on, fantastic job.
It was really good, really good. And then the next one that was really big for us, really big for me, but I know it was really big for us, was this gentleman came out, started talking to us. And I looked at him and I just had a feeling that maybe he was someone in the know, right? So I asked him, I said, "You look like a bigwig." And he said, "No." And I said, "Do you live in that house over there?" And he said, "Yes." And I said, "Then you're the biggest wig." So this was Greg Lill, who was the owner of Chateau Lill. He and his wife Stacy. So, by the way, Lill brother, right? Lill brother. So the Lill family. So Greg and Stacy. So we got to hang out with Greg for about an hour. So if you know the Lill name, where you might recognize it from, is De Lill, from the big winery just across the valley over by Chateau Ste. Michelle. So that was started by Greg and his dad, I think back in the 1990s. And if Greg watches this and I get the year wrong, he's going to say, "You weren't listening, you weren't paying attention." So I'm just going to say it was quite a while ago.
Then I'm not even going to try.
So here was the really cool part, was listening to Greg tell us about the history of De Lill. And they are one of the oldest and largest wineries in the state, one of the oldest and biggest, obviously, in Woodinville, and they make phenomenal wines. But he was telling us a story about how they got started years and years and years ago. So I'm not going to give you that history because I want you to be able to hear it from Greg. But it was phenomenal to be able to hear how that started, where they were when they had the conversations, right? We were just like, we were blown. Sherry and I kept looking at each other like, kind of like that look that we gave each other, like, pinch me. Is this really happening? Yeah. Are we really sitting here drinking this guy's wines who started De Lill years ago with his family? And it was just a surreal experience. And to have him hang out with us for it was a good hour. I mean, it was one of the best experiences we've had in our whole wine drinking experience. And then they were telling us, I think Chris had told us first, then Greg was telling us. I asked Greg the story. So I think the Chateau Lill, if I remember right, was the second production facility for De Lill. And I think they were maybe up in the warehouse district, but they moved down to where they're at Chateau Lill. And then they moved around a couple places, but now they're, De Lill is over across the valley where they're at now by Columbia Winery and Chateau. But they started production downstairs in this cellar, small area, and that's where they were producing their wines from. And they outgrew that, and they had to move someplace else. They outgrew that, had to move someplace else. Now they're in the big place, right? But the next part is what really struck me as amazing was Greg was telling us, and Chris was telling us first, that they had partnered with some other wineries, and I don't know how many. The one I remember was, and I'm not even going to name the winery. So there was a gentleman who was with Chateau for years and years and years and years and years, had decided to start his own winery. That's kind of common, I think, in the wine industry. You start with Chateau, you work a lot of years, and then decide to start your own. And this gentleman did. And so Greg and his father had told him he could use their facility, in his production facility,
One row,
where they're
right?
at. One row.
One row.
It was just one row, and I think they could go like 3 barrels high. And then the second year, they would give them 2 rows, could go 3 barrels high. But after the second year, they had to move out and go do their own thing. And in that 2 years, they were never going to charge this new winery anything. So it was all free.
No rent space.
No rent space, no production, nothing. It was free. On the understanding is when you go get your own space and you're doing your own thing, you have to be an incubator and help another winery get started the exact same way.
Pay it forward at its best.
Oh my gosh. And so that particular winery, like I said, I'm not going to name that winery, is one of the premier labels in Washington State now. Mm-hmm. They've been around for years and years and years. They're a high-end wine. And I asked Greg, I was really thinking about this. And I'm really big on context, on how that creates the content for everything else we're doing. But I asked Greg, I said, so let me understand this. I said, so you're telling me that this other winery has gone on to produce literally millions and millions and millions of dollars worth of wine, mm-hmm. and do all these huge things in the state of Washington, the Pacific Northwest. And it all started because you gave them free space downstairs in the building we're sitting in right now. And we had just been there just earlier, and Greg just kind of looked at me and he said, yeah, I guess that's true, and obviously the other thing was that DeLille was there before that. And so DeLille has gone on. And so that, if you think about it, that room, and I want to be able to go do an event in that room. So Greg, if you're watching this, I'm just going to ask you right now, can I use that room for an event just so I can talk to people about context? And I want to be able to close the doors. I want to have tables in there, drink some wines, and I want to talk about the context of that's where DeLille got started. And that's where this other winery got started. And there's probably others that have gone on to create millions of dollars in wines and help numerous families support themselves because it started out of that one room. And to be able to sit in that room and drink wine with, man, if you could join us, that'd be awesome. But that would be one of the most amazing events we could ever put on, just to sit, and there's nothing special about it except to sit in that room, surrounded by it, knowing what has happened in that room beforehand, right? And so it was amazing.
If you think about it, while you were saying that, this just made me think of something. One of the things that really hit me this weekend when we were up in Woodinville was the sense of camaraderie between all of these wineries. And it's really kind of this almost like an extended family type feel when you talk to wine owners about other wine owners about other wine owners. So if you think about it and you go back, Greg set the context for everybody to be in the space that they are right now.
Yeah, Greg and his dad,
yeah,
and his family,
to really help each other out, to really create that feeling of camaraderie. The wine industry, some people may think it's really big, but it's really not. It's very small. And the compassion that they have for each other and the way that they work together, that started with the Lills.
Yeah, from years ago and creating that.
Yeah.
And here's an example of that. So when Chateau Lill started to produce their family of wines at Chateau Lill, they didn't necessarily want to get back in the whole production thing. And Greg and Stacy had obviously tons and tons and tons of contacts in the wine industry. So they went back to some of the premier winemakers in the state and said, will you just make our wines for us and we'll bottle it, and so under our brand. And so that's what we're drinking is a Chateau Lill, a Lill family. I want to make sure I get it right. So the Lill family of wines at Chateau Lill. I think I said that right. I hope I did. But they have multiple winemakers who are making their wines for them. And he was able to do that, Greg and Stacy, because of their years and years and years and years of connections in the whole wine industry. And so now they get to go back and say, we don't necessarily want to be hands-on making the wine. We want someone else to do it. We want to be able to serve it at our place and create amazing experiences at our facility. Wow. And I'm telling you, the facility they have to be able to do this is phenomenal. The wine, this Little Brother is actually a phenomenal red wine. Really, really, really good. But just the whole context of that place. And so hopefully Greg and Stacy, by the way, I want to give credit where credit is due. We heard multiple times from multiple places that Stacy was all the brains behind the marketing for everything, that she is like a guru that we didn't get a chance to meet, that I hope we do. Yes. Right? But
we had friends that went up the next day that did get to meet her.
What?
Yeah.
Serious?
Yeah. Roy and Lisa got to meet her.
That makes me mad.
Yeah, I know.
So
we're a little bit jealous, but we're not hurt because we know that there's going to be more opportunities. And the thing is that you got to meet friends of ours, which is absolutely fantastic. A little jealous, but that's okay. We'll figure it out.
So Stacy and Greg, if you've made it all the way to the end of this video, which I know it's a long one,
gracious.
I'm just going to put in a plug, and I'm going to ask you if at some point this summer, and maybe even ongoing, that there was some time that we could do an event in that cellar storage production area downstairs. And since you guys live next door, we'd love to have you be a part of it. But just talk about stories of the wine industry with De Lill, Chateau Lill, the Lill family. Drink your wines with some people, and just create the most phenomenal experience. If you're up for it, we're up for it, and I'm sure.
And we actually didn't talk about this beforehand. This is just something that's coming up now. And as you're talking, my wheels are spinning, and I can envision this because I know what you guys have created, and I know what he does, and I think that the combination between those two could make an absolutely killer event.
I think it would be just unbelievable. And then, what would be also great is by the time the summer rolls around, we'll have 10,000 people in this Facebook group, I'm sure. It would be awesome. I mean, if you guys want to host an event where we have, I don't know how many people you can hold, a couple hundred, and we do some sort of a special, let's talk about Northwest Wines event there, where they're tasting your wines, buying your wines. We are all for it, because I know people will come in there and go, what in the world is this? And maybe even as part of that event, there's like an event with an event downstairs in that production room. That area has it holds such a special thing in my heart for me. I'm just like, when I just looked around, I was like, wow, this is that room right there to me is the most amazing place on the entire property, because I know what came out of there and I know what it represents going forward for a lot of people. So I want to be able to take my friends, my family, my whoever into that room and just share an experience with them where they come out and maybe they come up with the next big idea in their lives that changes everything for them and their families. And I know they can do it in that particular room, and I hope we can do it. So, wow. Okay. Let's wrap this darn thing up.
Right?
We could talk about Chateau Lill like forever.
The vibes there are phenomenal.
I think this video is like an hour and a half now. So, hey, if you get a chance, here's what I want you to do. I want you to go make a reservation. The person you're going to be talking to probably is Chris Fulkerson. Awesome dude. Tell Chris we said hello. Hopefully when you get there, you'll be able to meet Greg or Stacy or both. We have to make another reservation now just to go back and hopefully meet Stacy.
Twist my arm.
Right? And if you have a wedding, you have certain special events, they're a great place to talk to about that. And but be watching for hopefully some fun events that we can put together with them, just for Let's Talk About Northwest Wine. So with that, Cheers to you. We love you guys. Have a great night, everybody. We'll see you soon.